Welcome back, everyone. I'm Ivan. As you can see, this is gonna be a little bit of a different kind of video. I usually use my plushie Filbert, who is right beside me, as you can see, offering moral support. And if you're new to the channel, I make videos about mental health for artists. This is a safe place for all artists out there, all musicians, pretty much all creative people who might be struggling with their career, their life decisions. So the topic I want to talk about today is about self-doubt. It's about feeling insecure about your skills or your career choices following art, following illustration or animation or music. That little annoying voice that keeps buzzing around your head like a fly you can't get rid of. That aggressive self-criticism that you hate to do, but it feels like you cannot control it and you do it anyway. That same self-criticism that can easily kill your drive to follow your dreams and do what you want to do in your life. Why is it there? Why does it persist to exist? In psychology, for those of you who don't know, I have a bachelor's degree in psychology, behavioral psychology. There's a theory called interbehaviorism by Jacob Cantor. This was his response to Skinner's theory of behaviorism. The interbehavioral theory pretty much talks about how we interact with our environment and how the same environment interacts with us. It's a two-way street. This means that everything you do, everything you feel, everything you believe in, everything you love, and everything you hate is shaped by the environment we were exposed to when we were little kids, when we were teenagers, when we are adults. Someone or something in your environment at some point in your life taught you that. Someone taught you to love the things that you love. Someone taught you to hate the things that you hate. Everything that you believe in right now got reinforced so many times through your life that it intrinsically became a part of you. The artist that you are, the friend that you are, the community member that you are, the lover, the human being that you are, is because our environment shaped us that way. So the way you talk to yourself whenever you have those moments of self-doubt, of inner criticism, of disappointment, of fear, that's something that someone taught you to do as well. Someone or something in your environment at some point in your life taught you that. You learned it from something. You learned it from someone. That inner voice in your head that tells you you're not good enough, you're not skillful enough, you should abandon your career, it didn't come out of thin air. The same way that you might have learned how your mother confronts frustrating situations like getting fired or getting sick or just annoyed because she received something wrong in her takeout order. The way she organized her shoes, the way she greeted everyone when visits come into your home, the same way your sister or brother throws their backpack carelessly when arriving back from school, or maybe it's the opposite, and the way how they carefully organize all their belongings in the room. The same way your parents may resolve their arguments. Maybe they do it calmly and talk peacefully. Maybe they don't, and they escalate into a more tense argument, making you want to shut your door and maybe blast music at the top volume just to avoid hearing yelling from the other side. You live and see and experience these situations so often that you just intrinsically learn to deal with stress in a very similar way your mother did. You learn to be organized or careless based on how you saw your siblings do it. You learn a certain way to deal with arguments and confronting other people based by watching your parents time after time. And you learned all of this without anyone telling you, explicitly telling you, this is how you should do things. Well, the same happens with that aggressive self criticism or inner talk whenever you are doubting yourself. So ask yourself, think about your life. What in your past, what or who taught you to talk to yourself in that way? Who planted that seed that grew up to be this chaos and this self hatred that consumes you constantly? What in your life taught you that the way to do things is to punish yourself every time you want to follow your dreams, you want to work towards your dreams? Was there someone who constantly told you you were pretty much wasting your time, that you should choose another career? Was there someone who was mocking you, who was laughing at you? Somebody in your family, someone in school? Or maybe did you talk about this with someone and received an overwhelming amount of support that this just reinforced having self doubt on yourself? Because having self doubt means you will also receive compassion from anyone else. These are the sort of things that you have to, that you truly need to think about and be honest with yourself. What in your past has taught you to talk to yourself like that? I don't want to talk on behalf of everyone here, but there's a very high chance, it's very likely that your case is very similar to my case and other millions of artists out there. The fact that your self doubt, your insecurities, your fear of following this artistic path comes from what other people expressed about you, or what other people have expressed about artists in general. These are not things, your inner talk, your self hatred, your self criticism, these are not things that pops into your head out of nowhere. Think of it like AI. You've been fed time after time in so many different ways and presentations that you should not spend any sort of effort or resources or time or anything in following your artistic pursuits. It's a waste of time. It's not going to bring anything into your life. You're not good enough. There's so many people out there who are so much better than you. It's not for you. People laughing at you, people laughing at your art, at the things that you like, at the way you express your emotions through art. All those things are feeding that AI, and by default, your brain or the AI is just gonna keep generating new ways and new ways to treat yourself badly, to self-criticize, to self-hate, to have this huge self-doubt full of insecurities based on all your previous experiences from the past. That's why it's really important to identify where does all of that comes from. Maybe you have experienced all of this firsthand. Maybe all of this happened to you. Maybe it didn't, but you saw it happen to someone else. You saw it happen to a friend. You saw it happen to someone online. There are so many toxic people out there. And whenever you see a bad comment from anyone, it can be really hurtful. And that is just feeding more into your brain to generate new insecurities or more self doubt. In my case, for example, ever since when I was a kid, all the way to my late teenage years, maybe even a little bit later than that, there was this person who would constantly diminish and make fun out of my joy of playing music. I'm a musician first and foremost. I am not an artist yet, but I'm not a professional artist yet. I'm still learning. But we all creative people can relate to each other's artistic challenges. So this person would always mock me or just laugh at my music taste in general. I learned to play piano when I was like 7 years old, and I love to play songs on my own, to learn songs on my own, to learn songs from my favorite video games, from my favorite cartoons, movies, soundtracks, or just from my favorite bands in general. Like that's what I did. That's what I think pretty much every kid did when learning an instrument. And I would be playing a song, maybe a Zelda song, and out of nowhere, I would just hear someone laughing at me, someone giggling behind me. And I would look back, and there was this person laughing at me and saying things like, you are so weird. You shouldn't be playing that. You should never allow anyone to see you play that. You look so dumb playing this song. Why are you playing this? Like, always questioning the things that I like making me feel dumb because I like the things that I like, you know? And he would call me all sorts of adjectives, names, labels, and it got to the point where I would have to play the piano in such low volume. It's an electric piano. And if I would hear a single footstep come from downstairs, I would immediately turn down the volume, take the lid, take the cover down. I would do this. I don't know if you will be able to see this, but I'm gonna try. Like this, I will play the piano, and then I will listen to someone come. I will quietly pull this down and just do like if I was never playing the piano. Because if this person saw me or heard me, I knew what was coming next. And of course, I was avoiding that. A lot of the times, also, I would sneak out of bed at 1 a.m., or maybe I would fake that I was asleep and I just sneak out of bed at 1 a.m. just to go downstairs and play the piano by myself. Because that was the only time where I could feel safe to play without being laughed at, without being mocked, without being insulted. I would fall asleep on the floor or on a couch we had. I didn't mind that at all. But when you are experiencing all of this in a daily basis very consistently, it's just natural that a kid is going to develop some kind of self-doubt, insecurities, and fear in the future. And everything just got reinforced when you hear the same kind of things, the same exact words from someone entirely different, but just people who don't support your creative drive. It's just natural that some self-doubt is gonna develop later on. Whenever my friends would come over to play with me or to do anything, this person would take every advantage to pretty much drag me all around the mud to get a laugh, calling me names, making fun of my music taste, making fun of the things that I like to play on the piano. And whenever this person's friends would come home, it would be the same story. Whenever my friends would come over, I tried to make sure that this person was not going to be at home. And whenever this person's friends were visiting, I would just lock myself out or leave the house before they arrive and hope that they are not around anymore when I come back. It's pretty much the same mocking and laughing and insulting, but just in different contexts. And as I said just before, when a kid absorbs everything like this, all those insults, all those words, adjective, labels. Sorry, someone was knocking at the door. I was saying that when a kid absorbs everything, all these sorts of interactions, insults, words, adjectives, all of these become the training wheels for your brain to start generating new ways to talk down to yourself. When you have self-doubt, when you are criticizing yourself, all of that I experienced in my childhood led up to being very harsh with myself growing up. And it makes sense. And if you find what's the origin of your self-doubt, it's gonna make sense too. As I said as well, my self-doubt and insecurities did not spawn out of nowhere into my brain. They have an origin. They start somewhere with someone at some point. Whether if it's someone in your school, someone in your family, a bad teacher, anyone. It can be anything, anyone. A single comment online, and it doesn't even have to be directed towards you. It can be a comment that was left to someone else, not to you. Once you identify where it all comes from, I can assure you it only gets better from there. And I can tell you firsthand that that little voice in your head that's so annoying and makes you so sad and so angry and so desperate for a moment of peace and tranquility can be shut down. It can. And you will be able to tell apart when someone is telling you something, someone is criticizing something with the intention of seeing you get better, seeing you improve and challenge yourself, and who is doing it because they're just fucking scumbags. A few years ago, I entered a film scoring competition hosted by this website, and they had two options. One option will be to just make your music and send your submission, and boom, you're participating. And the other option was to send your submission and have it reviewed by someone who is a professional music composer in the film industry. I saw that and I thought, okay, that's pretty cool. I want that. So I paid for that. I made my music. I sent my submission. I was really anxious. I was excited. I was nervous because this was my first attempt at scoring any kind of visual media. So I was looking forward to that feedback. I wanted to learn something. I wanted to see how did I do. I wasn't expecting to win the competition, obviously, but I just wanted to learn something, to receive some good guidance or advice from someone who is supposedly to be an expert. Unfortunately, this person, when I received the feedback, it was an entire page full of diminishing, useless, and insulting criticism I've ever received in anything I've ever worked on. I was super disappointed with that. The only positive statement in that entire page was a single timestamp and two words. This works. That's all I got. From that entire page, this works was the only positive statement I received, which it wasn't even useful at all either. Like, what works? What about it works? Like, give me something, man. I don't know. And everything else were just things like, why would you use this instrument in this section? What's going on with this melody you made? Why would you set the mood? What's the deal with this? Like, saying stuff like that. And I was like, what the hell is that? What the hell is this? And I, of course, read through the whole thing, but I just cannot take I just cannot take any single word seriously. Like, nothing at all. Maybe the guy was having the worst day of his life and decided to take it out on us. Maybe he received the first divorce notice from his wife because he seems to be such a fucking prick. Sorry, I'm just gonna stop there. But it makes me mad because I was looking forward for that feedback. I wanted to know how I did. I wanted some guidance. I wanted some advice. I wanted something useful. I got nothing useful at all. Everything was so useless. I didn't learn anything. And it makes me so mad. This competition is supposedly aimed and marketed for beginners. This is not for advanced composers. This is for beginners who just want to try out to set foot in the water and see what the hell is going on. See how they do. Are you telling me that this is the kind of feedback that you are giving to people who want to work towards a dream, who want to do something about their life, who wants to get better? People who have no experience, people who may know no one in the industry, no one else to ask for feedback or criticism. And there's a kids category as well. Is this the kind of feedback they're giving to children too? Just killing their dreams and hopes just because a sack of shit wasn't professional enough to give appropriate feedback? It's insane. And people wonder why they have self-doubt issues. It's because of shit like this. And the thing is that if I would have been in a different place when I read that quote-unquote feedback, that could have tore me to pieces, tore me down, just absolutely kill any dreams and kill any desire to keep making music, like, period. But I already knew at that point that all my self-doubt, all my insecurities, all my fears comes from what other people say about me, about my music. And I don't believe any of that. So I did not allow this one page to get into my brain for it to generate new ways to self-hate and self-diminish, because I didn't want any of that. I didn't believe any of that. I didn't take it seriously. So, knowing this, Laila, the next time you sit with your musical instrument, with your drawing tablet, or your art utensils, and you start to have these self-doubt moments, these negative and aggressive inner talk with yourself, stop for a second everything that you're doing and ask yourself, are all of these things that I'm telling myself something that I would like to be told by a mentor or a teacher? Would this be the kind of stuff I would be telling one of my students if I were a mentor or a teacher? You don't want to do that. You will not do that. So why are you telling that stuff to yourself? The one thing you have to keep in mind, and that I have repeated so many times in this video, that you need to remember that all those words, they don't come from you. They come from what other people have said about you. And they're not true. We can change the past. There's nothing we can do about it, and everyone knows this. But once this starts to sink in into your head, there will be a point in which your brain will start to reject anything that is not useful to you. Being all this negative criticism, negative feedback, all these trolls online, and all that, all those memories you had, all those memories you have from your childhood, and you will be set on a beautiful path, on a beautiful and peaceful path, to continue understanding and exploring yourself and discovering your inner artist. It's just gonna be so much easier. You'll be able to tell what kind of things are actually useful for you to become a better artist, to challenge yourself, and what other things are just a complete useless waste of energy. Once you've clearly identified where your self-doubt and insecurities come from, as I said, it's just gonna start to get better and easier. It is not your fault that you may have all these intrusive thoughts, this fear. It's not your fault that people might have told you mean stuff when you were growing up that didn't support your art or your dreams. But it is your responsibility to stand up and really observe your environment, the people who surround you, the friends, the family, the work, the schools, your habits, and pick and choose what is pushing you to be a better artist and what is just a waste of time, what is not bringing anything useful to your life or to your artistic pursuits. And that said, I hope you have a wonderful day and keep exploring new ways to have a peaceful, healthy relationship, discovering your artistic self. I truly believe that this is going to help change the perspective you have on yourself towards a more compassionate direction. Take care. Keep on keeping up.